What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Strangers Minds. I'm Fernando, and today we're going to read from Reddit ghost stories from the community. Ghost stories. I absolutely am enjoying myself reading off of Reddit, believe it or not, because this is just a social community where everybody from all over are just putting in their stories, and we get to enjoy them, read them, if I can give advice, opinions, all of this off of Reddit. So, you guys, let's start off with ghost stories. The very first one, let's see, 11 hours ago, something paranormal that has happened to you or your family member. It's for a video. Oh, huh. How many? Nobody has commented it yet. So we'll come back to that. I believe, this is how content creators are getting their information for certain videos that they do, especially when it becomes, a paranormal video. But let's continue on. Crazy 10 hours ago, Kapkashi Koi, I hope I pronounced her name correct. Um, Crazy encounter at the Pioneer Town Motel. Okay, let's see what this is about. All right. Happened to a close friend of mine. His wife is all about the great outdoors, camping and hiking, but my friend never did any of that stuff until he met her. So she wants to spend a few days hiking in Joshua Tree NP. Not sure what that means, NP. Anybody knows, put it in the comment section. He lets her handle all the details, and because they have a baby, she books their nights at a Pioneer Town motel outside the park. They drive out there to go hiking. They have a baby, chest pack, and all goes well until the last night. My friend is sleeping in the bed of their motel room. His wife is there too with the baby between them. At some point, my friend wakes up because the baby has started to stir. So he holds her until she falls back into a deep sleep. But now he's awake and can't fall asleep right away. He's just lying there in the dark when something strange happens. There is an antler antler fixture on the ceiling that has a few light bulbs attached to it. It's the main light in the room. It comes alive, but not as if the wall switch was flipped. It slowly lights up, becomes abnormally bright, then slowly dies back down until it's off again. My friend is, of course, spooked. In his head, he's trying to make sense of it. Maybe it was a power surge or electrical problem. The motel is old after all. That would be my first go to as an explanation. If there is some electrical wiring that needs to be, handled, that would be my first guess. I wouldn't just jump into conclusions, but let's see what else there is. Not too long after that, another light appears in the room. It's actually two pale blue balls. Ooh. So this just brings me back to an experience I had in a house, but let's finish this and I'll share that story. Hovering in the air off the foot of the bed. My friend's first impulse is to jump out of bed and turn on the room light, but he hesitates. He's seriously not sure if he's dreaming or hallucinating, and he doesn't want to wake his wife and kid, only to startle the shit out of them. Then, having a crying baby on his hand, so he pulls the sheet over his head, shuts his eyes. Come on now. I mean, I understand you don't want to alert your family or want to deal with a crying baby, but you I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Would I rather put my family in danger? Because what if something happens? Then you're gonna feel crappy that you didn't do nothing. Just put your covers above your head. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah, I guess it all depends. I don't see myself ever. I don't. So he pulls the sheet over his head, shuts his eyes, and pretends like there is nothing there. But when he peeks, he can still see the balls of glowing light through the sheets. So what's he do? He closes his eyes again. Wow. And that's when he feels something on his feet, like a pressure pushing down, and it slowly spreads to his legs, like someone is pushing a wooden board against him, and the pressure spreads all the way up to his chest. Dude, you let that feeling go all the way up to your chest before what does he do? I'm so interested right now. I'm so focused. Let's see. Um Not in a painful way, but terrifying nonetheless. And then there comes a hissing sound, like air being slowly released from a balloon. Still, my friend refuses to do anything. He convinces himself that it's just a dream and holds still, his eyes firmly shut. Then the sound and pressure disappear. The room is calm and quiet, and the presence gone. My friend is just there listening, now convinced he really is awake because his heart is beating wildly in his chest. Unable to sleep, he waits in the dark. He peers around the room with his phone light every now and then, but nothing else happens. Finally, at the crack of dawn, he wakes his wife. He tells her he wants to get an early start to get back home and that they should leave ASAP. She goes along with it and they drive away. The funny thing is that he never tells her what happened. He doesn't want to scare her or for her to think he had some kind of hallucination. But he tells me all this months later, as we are in the backyard, seated across from one another, his fire pit between us. I'm past the point of getting goosebumps. My friend is not the lying type, and I believe him 100%. And I too am trying to make sense of it. I go online and look up the Pioneer Town Motel decades ago when it was used by Hollywood actors who filmed Western movies nearby on location. A spurned lover committed suicide in one of the rooms and review sites, people say they experience weird things in the motel, especially in the room where she died. I asked my friend if that was the same room that he stayed in, but he says he can't remember. It must have been. It must have been. That's the only logical explanation. The motel was haunted, and my poor friend got a taste of supernatural. Well, this is, you know what? I like the story so much. Let's give it a like. Honestly, man, I'm just the only thing, man, is this would be a normal reaction to a skeptic that doesn't believe and experiences something he doesn't understand for the first time. This would be their reaction, which is, probably the reason why most of us paranormal investigators that believe in the paranormal love to see skeptics crap their pants. But this is a sensitive story just because there's a child involved. I just don't see myself you know, you know, I my natural instincts, but maybe it's because I'm already a paranormal investigator. So my opinion is biased, but the last thing I'm gonna do is not do nothing and hide under the sheets. I have my baby next to me. No, I mean, you know, thanks for the story. Yes, thank you for the story. And you, my friend, thank you for being nice. Because we on Reddit, you'd be surprised. Let me take that back. You wouldn't be surprised, but on Reddit, there's a lot of assholes on here that would read these stories that people pour their heart and soul into explaining. And quite often, I'm seeing that people are looking for help, and you come across these assholes just writing dumb crap. But I guess it's gonna be part of the reading from Reddit series, me crapping on these assholes because I have no issues there either. All right, let's go to Decoy Rebel. I saw my first ghost. No way. Let's hear about it, sir. I worked at the hospital as a housekeeper, and our headquarters was in the basement. This is sounding good. There was some remodeling being done because they were turning an old spacious room into a break room for housekeeping. I was signing back in after lunch and nobody was near me, and I saw someone out of my peripheral. I thought it was a shadow of a person, but I looked over and realized nobody was there. But I went up to the soon to be break room and I said, "Hello. Hello there." as I always did, but nobody answered, and I found out right afterwards that the construction crew wasn't there at the time. It was like a shadow, but I didn't feel scared at all. Now here's the thing, you guys. Yes, I'm people ask me all the time why I am not scared of the paranormal, and that's not true. You know, I always feel some type of fear, but here's the thing: me knowing more or less the level on m- l- you know your body best. So there's just a level. For example, I always use this as an example. I do get nervous. I do get scared, especially when I'm in a area where where I'm not familiar with. But if I've been scared, my limit is here, right? My very first paranormal experience, it was one. I'm not saying that I was visited by the boogeyman, but my very first paranormal experience in my life traumatized me to the point that I remember every detail of it. And I was 11, 12 years old. I'm about to turn 43, and I remember this like it happened yesterday. If you guys want to know that story, I've said it so many times, especially on the podcast. Either you guys want to listen to it again, I have no problems just talking about it. Make an episode, a 10-minute episode, and put it up, or go check out the Shadow Files podcast on YouTube. Um, my fear limit is here. If nothing doesn't reach that, then it's just another day. It's just another day for me. I'm going to continue on to accomplish the job that I'm doing. And if it's paranormal investigating, it's gonna take a lot for me to run. Right? It's gonna take a lot, which is probably the reason why I'm not expecting for this what I'm doing here, these reaction videos to do anything like for me to be famous, YouTube, or YouTuber, whatever, because I'm not one to be, stupid. I'm not one to, there's a lot of content creators out there that are watching, doing what I'm doing. And then whatever happens, they're, oh my God. And they're freaking, it's like people want to see pussies. I apologize. I apologize. But it's like people want to see people getting scared. And sorry, it's me sitting in the comfort of my home seeing paranormal videos. You ain't going to get that. And regardless of what, you ain't going to get that anyway. Because my whole entire thing, this whole reaction thing, is about me watching paranormal caught on tape videos as a paranormal investigator and breaking it down for you guys. That is my whole entire thing. So great story. This could actually happen. It is very well known that a house that is old and getting renovated could stir up activity. That's for sure. I had a similar experience inside a warehouse. I was completely solo unloading freight with forklift. Heard what sounded like wet feet on cement running behind me, so I stopped what I was doing and turned around only to find wet footmarks directly behind me. What? Ooh, boy, that thing just got me goosebumps. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you guys probably don't understand, but could you imagine? Could you imagine you're just doing whatever? Then you hear the what? It's, I mean, just make it, like wet footprints, you turn around, there's nobody there, but you see the wet footprint. Ooh, boy. You know what? I'm going to share an experience that I had in Kings Park Psychiatric Center. We were outside of the building, you guys. We weren't even inside. We were scouting a building that is the criminally insane psychiatric ward. We were just looking around, taking pictures. I was facing the building. The my companion was facing outwards. From behind me, I hear like if somebody was running up towards me. I turned around, nobody was there. When I looked back, I see the expression on my companion's face, and I was like, "Did you hear that?" And he goes, "Dude, I saw it." And I was like, "What you mean?" He saw the footprint on the grass. He saw the footprint on the grass, and I heard it. Man, ugh, shit. I want to go back to Kings Park so bad. All right. Let me see. I was alone ish, obviously. There were no leaks to explain the water, and the size of these feet were abnormally large. Hell no, dude. Hell no. I don't know what's creepier, a shack foot or a kid's foot. You know, abnormally large. What ain't Shaq like size 50 or something? I'm a size 13. Would be abnormally large if you're trying to buy shoes off a Wish or Temu. But abnormally large, how big we talking about, boy? How big we talking about? All right. That's pretty awesome. Sometimes the echo of my own footsteps sounds like someone's behind me, and I almost crap my pants. The echo of your own footsteps sounds like somebody is behind you. Where? Where are you for this to do that? Dude, that would be a wild thing to be experiencing. You just walk in willy-nilly. You scare yourself because you hear the echo of your footstep. I guess it depends on where you at. If you're in a corridor, I don't know. That's wild. Um Almost crap my pants when that happens. So I would have no doubt crapped my pants in that situation. Speaking of echoing footsteps, I was going up the stairs at work once and it sounded like someone started running up the stairs behind me. This is what I call phantom footsteps. And when I always get the heebie jeebies when I hear them running, dude. I've experienced phantom footsteps. Just you hear the nobody's walking and you hear the footsteps. That. I've experienced footsteps being in the same room. It's a wild feeling, and it's just even crazier when you catch it on voice recorder or on video. It was the echo, but that's unexplainable. I wonder how those footprints got there for sure. The silence of hospitals holds many screams. Ooh, man. Babbles under the bed. That's a good saying. Cause not for nothing, I was hearing a story. It was an interview, and one of the things that just kind of grew on me was that there was a worker that used to live in a children's psych area, like mentally, like a psychiatric center, but for like underage kids. And he says the scariest thing is to walk around now because of the silence, because of how noisy the place used to be with all of these mental children, how noisy it was, and it's scarier of how silent it is. Dude, that just thinking about it, it is a wild thought. It is a wild thought. Okay, so let's go from Top Shaggers Witty. 14 hours ago, after my grandmother died, my condolences. Let's go with the story. Let's see what's up. This was a good while ago now. When I was a kid, my grandmother had probably been deceased for a few years, and me and my mom had just put up our Christmas tree. But this year, we had got a new ornament. This ornament was a heart shaped small picture frame with a photo of my grandmother in it. I'm not exactly sure how long the ornament had been on the tree for, But me and my mom were in the living room where the Christmas tree was, and the ornament literally flew off the tree. It wasn't like it just fell off. It was maybe about a meter away from the tree. It hadn't bounced either because we saw it happen. That was my first and only paranormal experience, if that even counts. Anything that you experienced, my friend, that is your experience, nobody else's. You know it better than anybody. What how I would have helped is if we would have seen it somehow. Obviously, not every paranormal experience is caught on camera, which is why when I see paranormal activity caught on tape, caught on camera, caught on whatever, I usually look for details as far as why are you recording? Why are we watching this right now? Because people recording just for the shits and giggles, that's a red flag to me. you know uh Now, depending on the story, obviously, but I could honestly say, you know I'm not sure, there's not a lot of details about your Christmas tree, but normally a Christmas tree is in a triangle, the pointy top, and it opens up in the bottom. It could be that it did fell but slid off the side of the tree, and once it hit the floor, it just created this slide. That would be my very best guess. As a paranormal investigator, that is what I would say. It fell and it just slid off the side of the tree and it caused like this sliding motion. Now, you know the experience best that I do. If it just flew off and it didn't even bounce, that would mean there was a force that took it off the tree and slid it. Because if it just flew off without touching the tree, and it just and an object, no matter how heavy it is, it's gonna bounce. Do you understand? That's physics. It's going to bounce. But if it didn't even bounce and it just slid, that means the force threw it off the tree and made it hover, float onto the floor. That's that would be the only next, trying to explain the paranormal event. That is how it would have been. But good story, my friend. That is cool. But you know what? We're gonna call it for this episode right here, you guys. If you are enjoying yourselves, please do what you do when you like a channel. Hit that like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next. Peace.